You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
Before this podcast kicks off, let's talk about goals. The Greatest Goal is a native tree crowdfunding campaign, leaving a legacy for Aotearoa New Zealand as co-hosts of the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023. Visit treesthatcount.co.nz to donate a native tree for a brighter future.
Football Fever with News Talk ZB's voice of football, Jason Pine and Bonnie Jansen with Trees That Count. Donate a native tree and help us score the greatest goal.
Yeah, kia ora, welcome in to Football Fever. This is your daily World Cup podcast in association with Trees That Count. I'm Jason Pine with New Zealand Herald football writer Bonnie Jansen alongside as usual. Well, losing Canada, Italy and Brazil was one thing, but did anyone really think we were going to be saying goodbye to world number 2 and two-time champion Germany? Well, we are, Bonnie, and your prediction yesterday, even though it might have been rather in hope than expectation that Morocco are going through, proved to be correct. Morocco are going through.
Can you believe it? I'm just still blown away. 72 in the world, like who would have thought? And then you look at New Zealand and you know, you could be like, oh yeah, New Zealand lucked out, but anything's possible when you're world number 72. It's just amazing and good on them.
Yep. Want to start with Germany though, and their loss sent crashing out in the group stages and arguably the biggest shock of the tournament, which has already been a tournament of surprises. A 1-1 draw with South Korea in Brisbane, the first time in Germany's history they've failed to reach the knockout stages at the Women's World Cup. They fell behind but came back, and it was 1-1 just before half-time. But as that game went on and they knew that they had to better Morocco's result against Colombia to progress, they just became increasingly more desperate. And as has happened a lot of times, and you've pointed this out, possession doesn't actually mean a heck of a lot if you can't put the ball in the back of the net.
No, it doesn't. And like the same for Panama yesterday or the day before. It was a really cool way for Korea to go out of the tournament. You know, they put up a fight and they scored. But again, yeah, these teams need to start executing their possession because it doesn't mean anything at this point.
Incredible, though, isn't it, that this is a German side that beat Morocco, 6-0 in their first game of the tournament, and everybody's like, okay, well, here are Germany, you know, they've arrived, they're obviously going to be there in the knockout rounds and could go quite deep. Some people were even picking them to win the whole thing, but they couldn't find a winner against South Korea. They go out with a +5 goal difference. It's the highest for a team that has failed to make it out of the knockout phase in the competition's history. Nobody writes this story, do they?
No, and right now after the group stage, Germany have the leading goal scorer. But, you know, that'll probably, that's not going to mean anything again because she's now out. But yeah, it's just incredible, really. And that the fact that they won 6-0 to Morocco and Morocco are the ones going through over them is just so ironic.
Just astonishing, yeah. Alexandra Popp, as you mentioned, her fourth goal in 3 matches. She scored the German goal, the captain of the side. But as you say, no more for her because they are going home because of these incredible scenes across in Perth. Morocco are through to the last 16 on their Women's World Cup debut, beating Colombia 1-0. Colombia still go through as the winners of the group, but Germany's failure to beat South Korea means Morocco are into the knockout rounds as runners-up. It's just an incredible story. What are they, 72nd in the world and beaten 6-0 in their first game? Again, nobody saw this coming, did they?
No, again, it just shows, because it's so exciting, those last 2 matches that play at the same time, and Morocco probably came into that game going, you know, oh well, we'll try our best, but you know, you do really have to give it all because you don't know what's happening in that other game going on at this. I mean, you know, of course the coaches know and they're probably feeding that to the players, but anything can happen, and it could have changed the course of their World Cup, you know, at any point. So good on Morocco for getting a result.
Absolutely, and even beating even beating Colombia is a terrific result for Morocco. And this Lamari with the only goal of the game, a rebound after captain Ghislaine Chebek's penalty was saved. So Morocco are the only one of the 8 debutants at this World Cup to go through, bucking the trend and emulating what their men's side did at the World Cup in Qatar just before Christmas when they went all the way to the semi-finals. Look, I'm not suggesting that Morocco will go to the semi-finals, but all of a sudden, Bonnie, we've got 3 African sides in the last 16. The only confederation with a greater representation is Europe. 8 European sides, but 3 from Africa. Again, they came in with Nigeria 40th in the world, South Africa 54th, Morocco 72nd. It makes a bit of a mockery of the world rankings.
Exactly, it does, and as we've talked about before on this podcast, a lot of teams, particularly USA, who were world number ones, were really adamant in saying there's not so much of a gap anymore. That the women's game is so competitive. So yeah, the fact that these rankings, they're so vast, but I don't think we also could have expected otherwise. I mean, it is still a massive upset that these teams are here, but the rankings, I guess, aren't a good representation. But now we've got the likes of Colombia, who are 25 in the world, and then taking on Jamaica. One of them, will find themselves in the quarterfinal, and that's huge for them.
Yeah, and very exciting for the tournament as well. I saw it written today as well that this World Cup has well and truly flipped world football on its head, but it has shown that talent is everywhere and is only limited by circumstances and opportunities, really. A 32-team World Cup, this is the beauty of it, is that all of these new sides come in, and sides that have, a bit more experience at World Cups, but, like having these teams go through is just a demonstration that there is football talent around the globe in both the men's and women's games. 8 European sides, 3 from Africa, 2 from Asia, 2 from CONCACAF, just the one South American side going through. The round of 16 is locked in. We say goodbye to 16 teams, obviously. The interesting part of this for me, Bonnie, is that a number of teams got 4 points and didn't go through, including New Zealand, Canada, Portugal, Brazil, Germany, all had a win and a draw, but it wasn't enough. But 4 points was enough for Norway to get through and for South Africa to get through in Group G. So, yeah, talk about a World Cup that's impossible to predict.
Oh, don't talk to me about Norway. I'm still not over them going through over us. But exactly, and that's the beauty of having 32 teams this time. 4 points would have surely been enough in the last World Cup to get through. And for these teams, we saw it with the football ferns. Just one result can change football in their country, in their nation forever. And that football ferns result will. But for the likes of Morocco and Jamaica and teams like that getting through to the knockout stage, that's just going to do wonders, and it's just so exciting. I mean, I'm going back to Jamaica again, but they had to set up a GoFundMe page to fund their trip down to New Zealand or down under for this World Cup. So, and now they're in the knockout stage. It's just so game changing for them.
Yeah, absolutely astonishing stuff, remarkable, and as you say, game changing. That is certainly the phrase, game changing for the sport in their countries. This is the Football Fever podcast. When we come back, we'll look ahead to the round of 16, which is now locked in.
While this podcast takes a halftime break, let's talk about The Greatest Goal, a crowdfunding campaign leaving a legacy for Aotearoa New Zealand as co-hosts of the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 by asking fans to donate a native tree. Each native tree costs just $10, and whether you donate one or many, you'll be contributing to amazing restoration projects across Aotearoa. Visit treesthatcount.co.nz to donate a native tree and help us score the greatest goal. Looks like we're ready to kick off the second half.
Yeah, second half of the Football Fever podcast. So the round of 16 is locked in. Just before we do get to these matches, and we'll give them a bit of a once-over lightly, Bonnie, and examine them in more detail on the day of the games, obviously. But when you look back on the 48 matches we've had so far, I think it's probably a silly question to ask, given what we've been talking about already on this podcast and previous ones. But how good has group play at this World Cup been?
Oh, it's been incredible. It's had the mix of a lot of goals and then a lot of upsets, and then a lot of really, really close, tight matches. And that's exactly what you want from a World Cup. And for me, my highlight of it has just been how much New Zealand's getting behind the tournament. So many sold-out games or close to sell-out games up here in Auckland, and Wellington and Hamilton and Dunedin have all been getting incredible numbers to their stadium. So, I've just been so impressed and blown away, and good on these teams for, creating that entertainment for everyone.
Yeah, I have too. I've been absolutely blown away by it all, and even now, and I know we've used this as our theme for a while in the last couple of days as well. Only 48 games gone, only 16 to go. So the games are running out. The tournament is into its back end, or certainly into its back third anyway. And but some amazing games to come. Let's go quickly through the games. The first couple of quarterfinals, round of 16 matches, are tomorrow here in New Zealand. Switzerland, Spain and Auckland at 5. Japan, Norway in Wellington at 8. Like I say, we'll have a decent look at this tomorrow on the podcast, preview both of these matches. But who do you like? Switzerland, Spain, Japan, Norway? Is it Spain and Japan going through?
I think it is Spain and Japan. On reflection, I think Group A was actually one of the weaker groups, and it's when you get to the round of 16, it's a real good test to see where these teams are actually at. I mean, Norway had a great last game against the Philippines, and Switzerland had some good results as well. But it'll be interesting to see where they were against the likes of Spain and Japan. You could also say, Spain and Japan got these incredible results, but maybe they had the easier games. Who knows? But I'm confident that Spain and Japan will get through these two.
Yep, we'll have a decent preview of these two round of 16 matches tomorrow. To follow on Sunday, a couple of belters: Netherlands, South Africa in Sydney from 2, and then Sweden, United States, Melbourne, 9 o'clock Sunday. That is the big round of 16 match, really, by any metric you want to look at it. England, Nigeria on Monday, followed by Australia, Denmark. Then on Tuesday, Colombia, Jamaica, and Morocco, France. So, yeah, we're into knockout football now. We're into the likes of extra time and penalty shootouts if those are required, and no doubt they will be at some stage over the next 16 games. So, strap yourselves in for what is set to be a huge climax to this Football World Cup. Just before you go, Bonnie, there's no games tonight. There are no games of football to watch tonight.
I know. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I'm thinking this is a good time to schedule in the Barbie movie that I haven't been able to go and see yet because I've been too immersed in the World Cup. But a bit sad there's nothing on tonight. But yeah, we'll just regroup. Get a good night's sleep, and got a lot of good games to come.
Well, it won't surprise you to learn that I probably won't be taking in the Barbie movie tonight. I'll probably find something else to do with my time, maybe watch The Warriors or similar. But we will be back. We'll be back tomorrow with a fresh episode of Football Fever in association with Trees That Count, and we'll be looking ahead to the first 2 round of 16 matches. Look forward to chatting to you then. Have an excellent Friday.
In this post-match review, let's score the greatest goal by donating a native tree to leave a legacy for Aotearoa New Zealand as co-hosts of the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023. Visit treesthatcount.co.nz to donate a native tree for a brighter future.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.